Lords and ladies of the realm, it is I, Charlie, master and creator of odd confusion. I come to you this evening for something that should have happened a week ago. But I am here and slightly healthy enough to do it, so let's do it. Lords and ladies, let us talk about Big Fandom Greenville 2017. I would like to preface this review with the fact that I am definitely coming back. However, here is what I think could be tweaked to make it even better. Because I know that some people, they get a little crazy about the reviews, okay? All right, so Big Fandom Greenville 2017. Happened at the Hilton in Greenville. It's a great hotel. A very nice hotel, let's put it that way. Very nice hotel. Plenty of space to do a convention. It was unfortunate that Big Fandom Greenville was really divided into two pieces in the hotel. You had the vendor hall and like the ballroom on the right side of the hotel, and all the panels and the like fan tables and whatnot on the left hand side, as well as the gaming room. So from that aspect, there was a ton of problems just because of like navigation, try to get people from point A to point B. There are people who constantly were going into the vendor panel section of the hotel who were actually trying to get to the vendor hall and vice versa. So that was kind of a little bit. The other thing was, because of the way that the fan tables and group tables were set up, it is not possible to actually you're not actually able to just have people who have badges go to those areas, because we're in a hotel and because it's split into two pieces, and also some of the rooms that were on the left hand side of the hotel were in use by a football team and then a wedding reception. So you had individuals from the football team as well as other hotel goers, and of course the wedding reception people who were able to kind of like get a sense of the convention without having to pay the price of admission. So from that aspect, I understand that the hotel probably dicked over the event planners, but at the same time, it to me felt really, really awkward, because I want this convention to succeed. However, if you kind of knew what the layout was, you could basically do almost everything. If you didn't want to go in the vendor hall, you definitely had to have your badge. However, if you just wanted to chill at like the cosplay table or the different groups tables, or hell, my table where I was playing different games all weekend, you could do that without having to pay a dime, which I wish there was a way to not have that happen, so that more money goes to the convention, so that people could see how awesome the convention is and it could grow. That being said, I believe they announced that they're going to have a Big Fandom Greenville 2018, please, because I, of course, will be back, and hopefully I'll have a cohort there as well. Now let's break down a couple other things here. So as I mentioned, there are fan tables and group tables and cosplay tables. When we first arrived, it was kind of hard to figure out. It would have been easier if we kind of got assigned tables, or kind of had like, this is where we've placed you. However, after a certain time you can move tables, because there was, there's just like this weird kind of like, could I use this table? Could I use that table? What if can I move my table over here? Can I move a table over there? So from that aspect, from like, the layout, that was, I wish that could have been a little bit, more control, a little bit firmer on exactly these are where the tables are. I don't know about the vendor hall. I would assume that they had tables for, assigned tables for everyone, but I couldn't tell you because I wasn't in the vendor hall. I was in that hallway. Okay, so let's see what else. The gaming room, I didn't really get I didn't get a lot of time to look in the gaming room. However, it was a little awkward to have it basically in the room that's on the other side of where the wedding reception was, and then have it move. Thankfully, the individuals who were going to use the gaming room found out real quickly that you could just kind of navigate to a different room and you're fine. So you could play. I believe there was a couple of games going on. I think Overworld's RPG and Spell Slingers, the card game. We're going back there. I think a bunch, some other stuff were going on there. I do want to say that the staff was awesome. One of the hardest things that I see in a bunch of conventions, the staff, once things get rolling, they kind of just, they're on the peripheral and they don't really interact. For me, at Big Fandom Greenville, there are individuals who are in the staff shirts coming by, saying, hey, checking things out. Sure, they're probably drawn in by the video games, but it makes me feel special that, you know, people are taking time to see if I'm good, if everything's going cool. That's awesome. That's what event staff should do. I mean, that's what they're there for, to make sure the event goes smoothly, not from the outside looking in, but actually interacting with all the different parts. The panel rooms were pretty good. However, and this is a problem that you see in a lot of conventions, is that the volume in the hall would basically kind of just, you know, escalate up, and then you would have to close the door. And a lot of individuals, and myself included, when I see that a panel room door is closed, I'm hesitant to actually go into the room because I think, oh, it's, you know, they've started, they don't want to be disturbed, that kind of thing. Personally, I would have put a staff person outside of both the panel rooms, that when people came up to talk about the panels or can they go in, you have someone who can verify, yeah, go in. That being said, I mean, look, to be honest with you, Big Fandom Greenville definitely shows that it's going through growing pains. There's still a lot of moving pieces they need to kind of like lock down. But overall, it's a fun ass time. I mean, you really have a good time. My only issue was the hotel. The hotel was kind of, I don't know, they're kind of weird. Like they didn't see, like they knew that the convention was happening. However, they were like hesitant to acknowledge it sometimes. It was weird. I don't know. Maybe it's just my vibe or anything. But in short, Big Fandom Greenville, it's, you know, it's the second year. There's definitely a lot of room for improvement. There's, you know, little things that if they fix this or maybe, you know, tweak that, it could go a lot better or smoother, or maybe, you know, gain a little bit more attention. One thing that I definitely would recommend to the event people of Big Fandom Greenville is, for the love of all that's holy, take down your panel schedule now. Make it disappear. Because I personally thought I had 2 panels and I thought they were already decided within, I think, a week and a half before the convention. However, that was actually the 2016 schedule. So when they updated the schedule to 2017, I was like, where are all my panels? And then, of course, thankfully, I worked out a deal with the Big Fandom Greenville staff, and we worked that out. Also, because of that schedule being up for so long, there were a ton of people, vendors, convention goers, who thought that the convention was actually 3 days instead of 2. The convention was on Friday and Saturday, and according to the 2016 schedule, which is what it was a 3-day. It was Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday, wrapping up on Sunday. So there was a huge amount of confusion there. So if they were to tighten up the website with the schedule, once again, take it down right now, or make it clear that this is not the upcoming schedule, so people do not get confused, and be sure to switch it over ASAP. It might also be good, like I said, if you could like assign tables to specific vendors or fan groups. It's also interesting or really good for the vendor or the fan group or the group or the cosplayer to basically be able to say, hey, come to this convention, I'm at this table. Even if it's like table 1 through 7. It'd be like, I'm going to be at table 3. It's right there on the map. That's the layout. So come find me right here. And so people can easily get there. They know what they're looking for. And then, of course, when they're walking by that bunch of tables to get to said table, then they they're getting pulled in and they're going to check out all the other tables. So I know I'm kind of rambling, and I know this review is a little bit too long, but that's what happens when I have like a week and a half and I've got all these thoughts and stuff in my head about Big Fandom Greenville. But ladies and gentlemen, keep an eye out. Big Fandom Greenville 2018. You don't want to miss it. As soon as there's information, we'll share it. And of course, if you're near the Greenville area in November, there's no reason why you shouldn't be at this convention.